Hello, welcome back. We're going to continue our discussion of projection today, and we're looking at the idea of joy in a joyless place. And how do you find joy in a joyless place? There is most definitely a way to do that, and we'll talk about that here in the next few minutes. Now, we're in chapter 6, section 2, the alternative to projection. This is the passage of the text of A Course in Miracles that we're working with here today. And we looked last time at what projection is. It is trying to get something away from us. We feel guilt, fear, it's the same thing. And we can't stand it. We can't handle it because it's painful. So when we project it, we get it away from us. That's what we think that we're doing. We try to get it as far away from us as we possibly can because we don't like the feeling. So we put it off on something or someone else. We lash out at our brother. We blame our brother for something we suppose that he did to us, or even if we acknowledge that he didn't do anything to us, we put it off on him anyway because we can't stand it. So we're judging him, aren't we? We're judging him, we're judging her, we're judging them. If it's a group of people, we're judging the people that we're putting all of our crap off onto. And we're judging ourselves at the same time because there is no separation between you and your brother. There's no separation, period. None of any kind. So when you judge someone else, you're judging yourself. And there's further judgment involved in projection, as we've seen, because we're judging the fear as well. We're judging the guilt as undesirable, as something that we desperately have to get rid of. And we maintain the separation in the process. In fact, projection is how the separation is maintained. It's how it's maintained. We see our brother as other than us. We feel all kinds of emotions in life, don't we? And the unpleasant ones we want to get away from us. So we think we're putting them outside of us, but there is nothing outside of us. There's no separate other out there. So we're really harming ourselves. We don't think that we're harming ourselves, but we are, and projection will always hurt you. This is something that we lead off with today in paragraph 3. It will always hurt you. So anytime we perceive differences, it's going to lead to further judgment. Anytime we see our brother or anyone else as outside of us, apart from us, not us, then it will lead to further judgment. And this is a perception. It's the way we perceive things that is faulty. It's incorrect. Now, all of the body's senses here in the world and all of our mass media, all of our societies and our cultural upbringing indicate that we're a separate self-sustaining survival unit known as a human being. I mean, this is the world that we've all been raised in, no matter what country or continent you're from. We are taught this from a very young age and conditioned to believe it. So here we find ourselves as adults, whatever age you've attained in this lifetime, whether it's middle age or advanced age, or whether you're still very, very young. We're taking a look at this and finding that the ego's thought system is inherently destructive, that it's something that we don't want, and deep down we know it. So here in A Course in Miracles, we're studying a thought system that will help us recognize the ego for what it is and set it aside, because we don't want it. It's leading to true perception, or clarified perception, where we see things as they really are, not as we would have them be. We would have them be separate when we side with the ego. They're not separate. So we're learning to perceive it this way. And this true perception to which this course is geared is the condition. It's the thing that we must attain before awakening, final and complete awakening. It's referred to as knowledge here in the Course, where we simply know God. And we need to perceive truly before we can truly know God. So that is what this course is geared to. That is why you hear on this video series and others, other books, there are many spiritual teachers in this world. This is why you hear the same ideas over and over, specifically here with this course, the fact that your brother is not outside of you. There is only perfect oneness. There is nobody out there, so to speak, no separate other. And as we see here, there is, in fact, an alternative to projection. We do not have to project. The alternative is your inner teacher, the Holy Spirit, the thought system that we're studying and practicing and learning here with A Course in Miracles. Your inner teacher is the alternative to projection. You could choose to perceive as your inner teacher perceives. There is a very fundamental difference between the Holy Spirit and the ego that is important, very important for us to realize. The Holy Spirit extends, and the ego, then when we identify as the ego, we project. So with projection, we perceive things as outside of us. Extension is different. Extension, with extension, you extend what you are and acknowledge that you are. You share yourself. You extend what you are. And with projection, we think we're something else. We think that there's something separate from us. They're very, very different. In fact, they're diametrically opposed. And as always, we're invited to choose the Holy Spirit. We're invited to choose our inner teacher who perceives equality, oneness. When we project, we're not perceiving equality because we're passing judgment on other people and we're condemning them. And we're also condemning ourselves because we, in turn, end up feeling guilty for passing all of this hatred off onto other people. And we hate the hatred, we hate the other people, and we hate ourselves for doing all of this nastiness. It's a vicious circle that doesn't end until we decide it's time for it to end, and that we want to accept atonement for ourselves. In other words, when we want to accept the correction of our inner teacher for ourselves. central to which is the acknowledgement that this separation that we appear to experience, this perceived separation, never occurred. It never took place. So that makes, when we're projecting and siding with the ego, that makes this world that we've created a joyless place, ultimately. It does. Now, I can feel people's responses here that, no, wait a minute, I'm having a very pleasant life. And I hope that you may be, right? There are moments of joy intermixed with all of the pain and the suffering. There are sometimes periods of time where it seems like everything is beautiful in life. Yet here in the world, it doesn't last. Our beautiful bottles of wine run out of liquid because we've consumed every last milliliter in time, or you dump it out. Meals, beautiful meals, come to an end. A gorgeous tropical vacation comes to an end, and it's back to the office or back to your Zoom meetings at home. Nothing in this world lasts. It is not a place of joy and only joy. Therefore, it's referred to here specifically in these passages of the text as a joyless place. So, how do you find joy in a joyless place? Well, you acknowledge that you're not there. Let this sink in if you've never heard the course's essential teaching. Here we are. There is no world. How about that? There is no world. This is not where you are. This is not what you are. It is most certainly where you appear to be and what you appear to be, but it's not true. It's not your reality. It's not my reality. It's not our reality. So where are we if not in the world? In God. One with God. There's no place else to be. God simply is, and we're one with God. We are the extension of God, the thought of God, the Son of God. We've always been at home in God, but we're having a dream that we're not at home in God and that we're someplace else. So, how do you find joy in a joyless place? But by realizing that you're not someplace else, you're not in the world, because you can't be in the world. There is no world. Now, if you're hearing this for the first time and this creates extraordinary resistance, not a problem. We can all expect this on the spiritual path, whether you follow A Course in Miracles as your primary spiritual tradition, or whether it is simply an adjunct for which it serves a beautiful purpose. It really does. There are many people out there who practice a different tradition, whether it's one of the traditional world religions or not, and they use this material from A Course in Miracles to supplement their own journey, to help illuminate their path. And this is completely and totally possible. And this course is so used by many people in the world. It can most certainly serve as a standalone tradition in and of itself. It most certainly points to the truth that you are one with God. We are all one with God. There is only perfect oneness, and we are not human bodies running around competing with one another. This is not, in truth, who we are. So we find joy in a joyless place by realizing we're not there. We've never been there. Ideas leave not their source. This is a very central and oft quoted idea in A Course in Miracles, and it's very often quoted here on this video series. And why? Well, because it's really, really important to repeat this idea over and over and over and over again until it begins to take root in your mind and drown out all of the other crappy chatter. You've never left your source. Ideas leave not their source. The Course talks about this on a couple of different levels. One level, thoughts don't leave the mind of the thinker. They stay in the mind of the thinker. You are, on another level, the thought of God. An idea. Ideas leave not their source. You may capitalize the S here. You have never left your source. God is not a human being, which is happy. That's good, right? God's not a human being. There is no world. We're spirit. Yet we appear to inhabit a human body, which we take in our conditioning, in our indoctrination in the world to be us and who and what we are. That's not, in fact, who and what we are. And this idea will be threatening. I mean, we can 100% count on that. It's the ego that is threatened by this idea. It's the ego that says this guy is cuckoo. He's nuts. Turn this off. What is this Course in Miracles thing? That's nuts. Close the book. Navigate away. That's the ego that keeps telling us this. And the very fact that you're here watching to this point in the video indicates that you know deep down that what your inner teacher tells you is true. That you know this. I know you know it because you're still watching. Otherwise, there's so much else out there available for our consumption on YouTube. And that word is most definitely appropriate, isn't it? Here, eat. Fill yourself with nonsense. We can do that because we have a choice in the present moment. We can run and hide, or we can listen to the voice of our inner teacher, which is the voice for God. It's God's voice. No matter what you may call it, it's the voice for God that speaks for God. Listen to it. God created you as a part of him, so it's both where and what you are. Paragraph 6. This is true of you. It's true of your worst political enemy. It's true of your abusive ex. It's true of your kids and people that you adore. It's true of me. It's true of all of us. We're exactly where God placed us. His own mind. We're one with God. We've never left our source. Ideas leave not their source. This is forever true, and it's a fact. It's, in fact, called here in paragraph 6, fact. It is fact, capital F. And it's perfect inclusion. It's perfectly inclusive. There is no separation of any kind. Thinking that there is the way that we keep egoville going, by thinking that our brother is separate from us because they look like a different one of these, and they're out there running around doing things that displease us, which is a really nice way of putting it sometimes, isn't it? Because we have feelings of attack and hatred, rage toward our brother. We can't stand that rage that this faulty perception brings about, so we project it out, therefore maintaining the separation. Instead, we could choose to listen to the voice of our inner teacher, which always speaks truly because it's the voice for God, and extend love instead. Extend the miracle, forgive the Son of God, forgive the world, and while you're at it, please, please forgive yourself for dreaming it. When we forgive someone else, we're really forgiving ourselves. Consequently, when we appear to attack someone else, we're attacking ourselves. There is only perfect oneness. How do we clarify our perception? Well, by listening to our inner teacher and listening to ideas such as these. They're very, very important for all of us. How do you find joy in a joyless place? But by realizing, acknowledging, and accepting that you're not there. You're not here. When we look in the mirror, it sure looks like it. When we stub our toe, or worse, it feels like it. How do you know that it's not the case? Well, listen to the guidance of your inner teacher and extend love. Extend the miracle of true forgiveness to your brother, and your experience will show you that these ideas are, in fact, true. All right. So as we wrap up here, a couple of words about resistance. It comes up in these videos because it comes up in daily practice, doesn't it? We have doubts from time to time. In fact, there are periods of time where it seems like we want to put the whole path to the side and just go crawl in a hole and then hide and eat a bag of chips, drink lots of beer, watch lots of television, and wrap up in a blanket and hide from the world. There are moments like that, aren't there? And perhaps you're experiencing that right now. So there are a couple of things that you can do. Number one, it's really, really important when you experience these, not if, but when you experience these difficult moments, that you recognize what's going on and recognize that it is the ego that's afraid. In truth, there's nothing for you to fear. There's nothing to fear. So it's the ego that's afraid when you feel uneasy or deeply disturbed, anything that's not total joy. That is an opportunity for forgiveness. Forgive whatever it appears to be that's causing you this distress. This may mean forgiving A Course in Miracles. It could mean forgiving me. It could mean forgiving your brother. It could mean forgiving the dog, your neighbor, whoever it is, or whatever it is that seems to produce this dissatisfaction in you. It's actually in you. It looks like it's outside. When you truly forgive what looks like it's outside, you're really forgiving yourself. You're recognizing that there is, in fact, no separation of any kind. There's nothing outside of you. So you're going to work very effectively and very quickly in clarifying your perception. It is a powerful, powerful practice. It's what we do, and that's why it is the practical centerpiece of A Course in Miracles, true forgiveness. We can also appeal always to our inner teacher for guidance, for help, for assistance, and you can ask questions out there in the world. It only appears to be out there after all, but there are many, many people who are here to help you. They're here to show you love and guidance and support on the path. I am simply one of them. There are many. So when we're feeling like we want to crawl into a hole, eat lots of chips, wrap a blanket around ourselves and hide, when we're having one of these moments or one of those days, we can always reach out. There is support available to each and every one of us. It's available to you. So along those lines, if you have particular comments or questions, please feel welcome to leave them here. And if this is content that you would like to see more of, go ahead and hit the subscription button, which is the red arrow here in the corner. I'd love to have you join us and subscribe to this channel. It's an international community that's growing, and I know there are a number of you who have recently joined us, so welcome aboard. What you'll get here is we're going through the text of A Course in Miracles here with this video series. These videos appear several days a week, on minimum 4 to 5 times a week, because consistency is what we need on the path. And well, we're on chapter 6 in the text of A Course in Miracles, and there are 31 chapters, which means many, many videos to come. And comments, questions are always, always welcome. If you feel like it's a beginner question, that's the one you should really ask, isn't it? If it feels like you should know it and you're hesitant to ask, because we all experience this, I invite you to go ahead and ask, because there is no such thing as a dumb or a bad or a novice question here. And there are people that have been practicing for 20 or 30 years that have been course students longer than I have, who need to hear what your question is. And you could be benefiting people all over the world. You don't know unless you ask. So please feel welcome to do so. And I will see you again here on the next video. Thank you so much for joining me.